Welcome to Homefront Friday. Today, we're going to look at the wake that you leave at home. Sherry and I, my wife, were out, and it was one of those nights where getting ready to go out, it didn't go well. We got in a fight while we were in the house. We kept fighting while we were in the car, and we were in a fight. Now, not just always yelling. I don't know if you've ever been in a fight where you're just silent and you don't speak to each other, but you make sure that each other knows that you're mad at them and it's their fault. Yeah, it was one of those kind of drives. And we get where we're going, and I run into a client. And immediately I shift. I get happy. I get engaging. I'm positive. There's this 180-degree shift in my emotions and everything that I'm doing. And then as soon as the client leaves, right back to being angry. So Sherry knew she wasn't off the hook and I was still mad at her. Translation: my clients get the best of me, get all of my emotional self-regulation, the best of everything I've got. My family, they get my anger, they get my dysfunction, and they get my undisciplined emotion. Does that sound like anyone you know? Can you imagine your kids watching a video of you working or of you doing a training class on, hey, this is how to listen. This is how to be fully present. This is how to give great customer service. This is how to be empathic. This is how to help someone solve a problem. All the skills that you try to teach everybody else about having great customer service, really seeing people, really putting yourself out, serving them, taking care of them, putting somebody else's needs first, or diving into the skill of anticipation and how to anticipate what your customer wants and give it to them before they ever ask. What would your kids then say about your customer service to your family as the ultimate customer? How would they feel you're doing? What would they think of your customer service at home with the most important and vital customers you have, your family? Here's the painful truth. If I interviewed your spouse or I sat down with your children, would they describe a leader who's fully present or just physically there? Would they talk about a leader who leads their family with intention or someone who's always distracted, always annoyed, always tired? See, your team at work may tolerate inconsistency, but your team at home, they feel it in their soul. And here's the kicker. You're building a culture at home every single day. The only question is, what kind? I'm Chris Hunsaker, and this is the Dealership War Room. Leadership fire, 7 minutes, built daily, fueled intentionally, and delivered relentlessly. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most important cultures you will ever create, the one you create in your home. That's your operating system. And yes, your family is feeling it. We have feedback loops in business, but do you have feedback loops at home? Do you know how to repair emotional tension quickly? Do you have reconnection rituals to make sure everybody stays connected? Because if not, then you're really just a firefighter at home. You react, apologize, promise not to do it again, and then you repeat the whole cycle over. So what's the fix? You don't need more guilt. And I'm not bringing this up to make you feel guilty. I want to be clear and precise on what the problem actually is. And you do not need more guilt. What you need is a simple system of connection. And let me give it to you. I call this the Homefront Feedback Loop. It is simply a 3-question ritual to help you build emotional leadership at home and absolutely get great at the skill of connection. Number 1 is connect. This is the power question. What's one thing I can do to help you feel more loved or more supported this week? You can ask that of your spouse, of your children, even of your parents. But the power question is you stopping, closing the loop, looking them in the eye, creating connection, and then asking specifically, directly, what's one thing I can do to help you feel more loved or more supported this week? And the second question is simply, what's one thing I did this week that made things harder? That question takes a lot of courage, but it builds an amazing amount of trust. And I have to tell you, the answer to that question is so much more important than any customer satisfaction survey you're ever going to look at. 3 is repair. And the power question here is, what would better look like next time? And don't respond with, okay, I'll try harder, or I'll see what I can do. Build systems, build patterns to execute on the feedback. That's the Homefront Feedback Loop. Connection, reflection, and repair. And you don't need a 2-hour family meeting. You don't need a family therapist. What you need is 5 minutes of intentional behavior to sit down one-on-one with your people or in groups with your family and go through those 3 power questions and listen, respond, and then build patterns of behavior that build trust and connection with the most important team that you will ever lead. So now it's time to turn insight into action. And here's your first move. Tonight, I want you to run your very first Homefront Feedback Loop and blame it on me. Tell your family, hey, I was listening to this podcast and He challenged me, and I have 3 quick questions that I want to ask you about how I show up as a leader. Do that, and you are already a different kind of man. Not a perfect one, a present one, a patterned one, a leadership one. Because if your kids trust your consistency more than your apology, you win the long game. Please don't just build a business, build a family that's proud of the man that you became. And I hope that if your spouse or children ever get asked, like, hey, what happened to him? Or why did he change? I hope their answer is the Dealership War Room. That podcast saved my family. Please, I invite you, use the Homefront Feedback Loop. Do the first one today. It's Friday. Make it happen. Create some family fire, and I will see you Monday in the Dealership War Room.